It's the Flow Friday night sports show. We're edging close to the end of the program, and Ellis Gillius has just gone out for a refreshing soft drink and left us alone, Dan, to talk to our next guest. And I don't know about you, but I'm excited.
I'm always excited for Speedway.
Yes, Speedway. The petrol heads out there in our Flow family have been following it closely, I'm sure. Just like our next guest, Brucey's back. Bruce, how are you, mate?
G'day there, Jason. G'day, Daniel. Oh, what a huge week in Speedway. I tell you what, you're talking about Big Kev. Well, I'm Big Brucey, and I haven't seen a huge week of Speedway like this since the COVID. And we have a massive weekend in Speedway with many tracks going around the country. But before we get into that, let's have a look at last week's results.
Let's do that, and there is a few of them to have a look at, Bruce. We need to start by going back a touch to Toowoomba, the Mayor's Cup meet. How did that go?
Oh, it was a great meeting up there and big crowds. And Jock Goodyear took out the Mayor's Cup in front of the local Lockie McHugh, who got stopped in his tracks on about 14 A-main victories this season. And he has just been flying, Lockie McHugh. But Jock McHugh has taken him and got the win in the T22 in fine style from Lockie McHugh and Luke Oldfield, Cody Morosky and Luke Oldfield in the mix there. But it was a good year. It was a good year for Jock Goodyear. And, not spelt the same, but the Tasmanian getting the job done.
Good stuff. Excellent work there. So that's Toowoomba. Brucey, tell us what happened in Perth. The Legends of Speedway were at it. Who won that one?
Well, I read this one, and it was the Legends of Speedway Big Chap 57. Now, when I seen that, Jason, I thought they might have been talking about me for a second, but not quite 57 yet, thank goodness, but a big chap I am. It was the A-main classic over there where Callum Williamson, he has just been in sensational form in Western Australia. And look, he's picked up a few A-mains this year. I think this one's about his third or his fourth. And I think it's his fourth. We'll go with 4 in the W3. And he has had a great season and been a standout with the victories over there in Victory Lane. Daniel Harding in second place and David Priolo in third place.
Hey, before we get on to this weekend's huge weekend at Speedway, what can you tell us about the SA Wingless Sprints title?
Well, the SA Wingless Sprints title was run at Murray Bridge last weekend, and it was the favourite son, the boy that's just been too good in this competition. He's just an absolute whiz, Joel Chadwick in the S5, and he has taken this one out. Didn't win it in 2019 and 2020, so it's been a couple of seasons since he's held the silverware, and this time it's his fourth victory in this, and he really is a gun in the SA Wingless. Is Joel Chadwick, and now he'll have SA1 on his car. Joel Heinrich was in second place in the S16 and coming in third on the podium, Glenn Watts in the V14. So good to see a Victorian coming over and mixing it with the South Aussies.
No, it's not, Bruce. What are you, South Aussie or what? No, of course it is. We love having our Victorian friends come across the border. I'm just thankful they can at the moment, Bruce.
Yes, it has certainly been good that things have opened up a little bit and continue to, which is great for Speedway. Jake Ashworth there was the unlucky one in fourth place not to get on the podium. Some did not finishes there. William Caruso, the gun out of South Australia, he couldn't get over the finish line, but it was a great meeting, and they're having another big meeting this weekend, which we'll get to in a moment.
We will.
60 lapper.
All right, Brucey, let's have a look at this week coming now. Because we've got so many meets, I think this is the biggest meeting week since COVID. I believe 6 different races to talk about. Noms are in for them, meets I should say. Where do we start, Bruce, for this weekend's action?
Well, the first one we'll look at is Premier Speedway, and they've got the Big Sprint Car Showdown. So, look, they would be frothing at the mouth, those Victorians, to get down there to SunGold Stadium, because it's just been a real shortage of competition down there because of the COVID. But, gee, looking at it, a pretty good field. I'm seeing 41, in fact, cars lining up for this contest. Some South Aussies going over there in the likes of Glenn Sutherland and Daniel Pesca. So we'll give the South Aussies a mention. Terry Kelly, Glenn Sutherland, as we said. Jamie McKinns in the NT4, travelling down from Northern Territory to have a run. So good to see him. We'll count him as a South Aussie in the mix. So, yeah, some South Aussies amongst it. Picking a winner or a top three, as you said, you'd have to have Jamie Veal in there, the Warrnambool kid in the A1. Pretty lucky and fortunate there with the COVID. The Australian title, of course, cancelled. So Jamie Veal would be the pick in the top three. I'd probably slip David Murcott in there in the South Australian Downing Brothers owned car, the S97. And never underestimate this bloke, Grant Anderson, in the V37. He just seems to get on victory lane on that podium at Warrnambool. He knows how to get the job done down there at SunGold, and he should be in the top three. And I'd probably give Corey McCullough an outside smoky there in the top three. But the big news out of this race is, of course, no James McFadden. He has gone back to overseas, so to contract drive over there. So in the world of outlaws. So good to see still a pretty good field there without J-Mac in the lineup. So and the tip there, as I said, would be probably Jamie Veal on his home turf.
Back down south a little bit to Mildura. What's happening at Mildura Speedway?
Well, at Timmins, they're looking to have the All-Star Series back there, the mainline Dynalog Dynamometers All-Star Series. It's round 4, 23 nominations, which is pretty good field, actually, for this event. One I'm very surprised to see running, this one is Rusty Hickman in the V40. Look, certainly quite capable of handling the 410 class, but just opting to run the 360 this season, probably mainly due to COVID and all the rest that goes with it. From South Australia, good to see Mark Caruso making the trip over there in the S33, and Jarman Dalitz in the S95, and Ben Morris in the S3. So good to see, and Jay Brown in the S51. Good to see some of our South Australian drivers travelling over there, and Steve Caruso. So a bit of South Aussie contingent to take it right up to the Vicks, picking a winner. And this one, a top three, you'd have to probably go with Dan Evans. He seems to run this track at Timmins very well, and I'd have him up there. Rusty Hickman right on his tails, and someone like Brenton Farrar in the V34, he'll be another one that'll be there. A smoky, I'll go for Mark Caruso. He's had a good season, and in the both classes for the sprint cars. So that's a bit of a look at Mildura, which should be a big meeting. Remember last time, a few weeks ago, it was sold out up there. So I'd expect something similar. They love their sprint cars up there at Mildura, and I'd expect a big crowd there at Timmins Speedway.
Back home now in South Australia, Brucey, what can you tell us about the Wingless 60-lapper down at Murray Bridge?
Oh, look, this will be a massive event. This will be standing room only in the pits with the other classes. There'll be a good 100 cars there in the field, and should be a big night there at Murray Bridge. Look, 60 laps. I reckon after 60 laps of rocking around in a wingless sprint, you'd just about get out and drop to the ground, because you'd really be an elbows up sort of a setting, wouldn't it? You know, you got to hold it for 60 laps, so it'll be an absolute brilliant race. For this one, I'd probably look at, some guys in this like Joel Chadwick. He's obviously going to start favourite. Reese Heinrich, Joel Heinrich. They're the sort of blokes that'll be the front runners. Luke Wheel, don't underestimate this bloke in the VX50. He really is a gun from Victoria. Some of the others to look out for, blokes like Brett Ireland in the S71, Reese Heinrich, he's had a pretty good season, and Mitchell Broom in the S35. He's always around that top 5 in the wingless sprint. So Kecky Fallon, he's also another one to watch out of Loxton. Kecky's had a lot of experience in the sprint car, so he'll be running around without the wing, and he'll be another one to be in contention.
Excellent, mate. Should be a huge weekend of racing across the country. Look forward to it, Brucey. You enjoy the weekend's racing, and, mate, we will catch up with you again next week.
Yeah, we'll catch up with you next week again and look forward to it, mate. We'll see you then.